Jan Blachowicz is such a humble person. It's very important, especially if you are... I believe this is just the key.
Okay, hello guys, and today let's talk about Jan Blachowicz, and let's talk about his mindset and how he prepared for this fight against Adesanya. So it was so great to see two such humble athletes fight against each other. It was a great fight. I don't really know too much about fighting and all the techniques and stuff, but we are going to talk about the psychological part of it all and some things that Jan Blachowicz did share in his, I guess, press conference and interview after the fight, which was so important. Like, some things that he shared are so important that I've already stated on my channel multiple times, but I think it is so important to reiterate these points because they are and really show examples of people, examples of real life fighters or real life athletes who just do these things to help them be champions and win even as underdogs. As far as I understand, a lot of people thought that Jan Blachowicz was not gonna win that fight for multiple reasons, I believe, but he did. And one of the things that he shared that really, he didn't say that it helped him, but the interviewer basically asked him whether he felt like this extra pleasure from proving people wrong. And he said that he stopped listening to people's opinion. And that is so important because, of course, there are people who are saying, well, I'm not affected by what other people say. But at the same time, if you are going to hear so many times certain assumption about yourself, you're not gonna become that, but you are gonna in a way believe it, right? And it's so important to just protect yourself, protect your mind from all this people who just assume certain things about you. And sometimes it can be really hard because sometimes it's your parents that doubt yourself. It's very close people to you who doubt yourself. And I really believe that it's so important to choose people that you surround yourself with properly and to choose them in accordance with who you want to be and how you want to express yourself in this world. Basically, to choose people who are going to support you no matter what and who believe in you. Because if they don't, honestly, I do not believe that most people who have a lot of people surrounding themselves who doubt them are gonna make it. It's very, very, very hard. World is already I don't want to say, no, not me, but like people are obviously gonna doubt you because they doubt themselves, and they just a lot of times don't see why or how you are better as long as you haven't become like this like celebrity type of athlete, right? And I saw that happening. There are multiple friends or people that I know of mine who have become world elite athlete champions and stuff like that. So, and obviously even they were doubted, and it's just normal. So obviously you cannot choose your parents, right? Or some people that are close to you that surround you, but people that you choose who surround you are better be helpful, obviously, because if they don't, it's just gonna really, really hurt you. But what can you do in order to protect yourself from all these opinions, thoughts, so just that they don't mess with your mind and your mindset? Well, there are several things you can do, and one of them is actually something that I have shared in my other video about another Polish athlete, Iga Świątek. So basically, when she plays tournaments, she's a tennis player, she is a champion, she won Roland Garros last fall. And she shares that when she plays tournaments, she basically does not use her phone because Instagram and YouTube, it's just natural thing to go on it and just look things up. But when you don't use your phone during the tournaments, during those very intense periods of times when there's already so much stimulus coming into your brain, right? because there are all these people around. I mean, on tennis tournament, there are basically like, I believe, 100 people that are participating, right? So in those moments, you just don't add things, right, that are gonna like overstimulate you, as weird as it sounds, but yeah, overstimulate your brain, I mean. So one thing is just to limit your social media consumption but it's very like, it's easy to say, oh, limit your social media consumption, but like you have to do something with the time that you all of a sudden now have on your hands, right? And a great idea is to read books. When you read books, it puts you in this alpha wave state of mind, which is a calming state of mind. So you feel more calm and relaxed, and you don't feel that nervousness. And to read books, mainly on psychology, I recommend Viktor Frankl. This is #1 read for Maria Sharapova, who's another great athlete and who also shared that she reads a lot of books before matches, and she doesn't watch other people's matches before she goes on the court, because it just becomes too much, and you can sometimes get burned out when you are watching other people play before you go on the court and play, because you just all of a sudden become so emotionally involved in like other people's matches, right? So that's what I would recommend first. And then another thing that is really, really important is to keep your frame. This is another thing that I've shared so many times already on my channel, even though it's a very, very new channel, obviously, is to reiterate yourself, your frame, and to keep your frame. It's so important to keep your frame no matter what, because when you allow other people to control your frame, right? To control who you are or who you believe you are, it's honestly one of the worst probably feelings in the world, because how you see yourself, if you see yourself as like, let's take an example of another athlete actually, because some people just share enough information so it's very easy to take their example, right? Like Novak Djokovic, who is #1 in the world right now in ATP, like in tennis, right? So he felt that he is supposed to be #1 when he was as young as 6 years old, right? And obviously that's like so funny to think that a 6-year-old is gonna know that he is supposed to be or will be #1 in the world. But he held on to that feeling, to that idea, to that frame for so long, so he has become the world #1. And once again, when he had become the world #1, it was so hard because there was Federer and Nadal, and it was just very, very hard. But sometimes it takes decades to hold on to your frame in order to quote unquote manifest it. I don't like this like new age practice. I'm not into that new age practice, but I feel like this word is really appropriate here. But sometimes it takes 2-3 decades. Well, 3 decades is probably a lot. Well, sometimes it does. Like, let's take Elon Musk as an example, right? It took him literally so long to get that rocket in space. But let's come back to athletes, because we're not talking about Elon Musk right now. So very important to reiterate, to make yourself feel that way, feel like you are, well, if you want to become world #1, like a champion or whatever you want to become, right? It's important to hold on to the feeling that you are that, even though you're not. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but like basically, let's say I've heard actually Adesanya say this, like when you want to be a UFC champion, you have to do UFC champion. I don't want to say that word out loud, right? But you got the idea, right? So if you want to feel like you're this champion and stuff like that, then you have to work as a champion and you have to do things like a champion. So these are some tips So basically start practicing like a champion. Start, I don't know, maybe waking up at 4 a.m. like Mike Tyson did, even though he woke up actually I believe at 3 a.m. which is insane. But whatever works for you. So another really great thing that I've noticed about Jan Blachowicz is that he is like 38 years old, and the amount of time that it took for him to be this champion. I know that he already was a champion in this weight category. At the same time, I still want to emphasize that it still took him so long to be so popular, because obviously after this fight he's more popular than he ever used to be. So the amount of passion and grit that he has is so important. And in that same exact press conference, he also shared that he doesn't have motivation because he has passion and he has perseverance. He didn't say perseverance, but passion plus perseverance equals grit. Motivation is a BS, because honestly motivation doesn't really work. I mean, not in a psychological, not how psychologists define motivation, but how those YouTube motivational videos define motivation. It only lasts like maybe like an hour, maybe a day, a week, well, a month max, right? Because you have to have this marathon type of mentality in order to succeed in anything, honestly, because anything worth succeeding is gonna take a long time. So these are some tips. There are more tips from Jan Blachowicz that he shared in his interview and press conferences. And so if you want to see those, go to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, watch my other videos, and thank you so much for watching this video till the end.